A commonly perceived barrier to filmmaking is the actual equipment needed to shoot and edit a film. There's no denying that filmmaking of any genre or duration can easily ramp up very quickly in terms of the cost of the tools you need to make your project. Expensive gear and the knowledge on how to use those tools effectively can definitely feel like a pretty substantial barrier. But that's exactly it. It feels like a barrier. The biggest difference between using a cheap or homemade piece of equipment versus its very expensive counterpart is usually down to its ease of use and its reliability, not the quality of your final outcome. I could buy a £500 tripod or a £10 one. Both will be able to hold the camera stable. I can, with practice and technique, achieve a smooth pan or tilt with the cheap one that anyone could achieve with no experience with the expensive one. The cheap one might break easily on set, and that could prove a problem, whereas the expensive one could be passed down through the generations and still work just as well as it did when it was new. But as a filmmaker, I have to decide where I want to invest either my time on set or my money when it comes to the gear I work with. Do I use the cheap or homemade tool that will achieve the exact same end result, but at a time cost? They need to be used more delicately to achieve the same shot as the expensive gear, so I save my money, but I've spent my time. Or do I invest in professional level equipment, knowing it will work every time on set, but that reliability cost me money, but it has saved me time? This, however, is irrelevant when the audience is concerned, because when the audience is viewing the end result, the equipment used becomes completely irrelevant. All that matters is the work good? Does it hit an emotional resonance and achieve what you set out to do? You can make objectively bad and good work with both the expensive and the cheap tripod. All that matters is the fact that you made work and the lessons you learned through that process. So make work and learn those lessons. Ultimately, when we're all starting out, the question of what equipment should I use is answered for us, as we need to work to as low a budget as is humanly possible, which in many cases is zero budget. Zero budget filmmaking is 100% achievable. Most student films would easily fall into this category. What a zero budget film costs you is time. Zero budget relies on favours and a network of collaborators. You work on other people's projects, honing your skill and craft, whilst also building that network that will ultimately work on your projects, allowing you to make the films you want to make. A budget, however, pays for crew and cast, equipment and locations, etc., etc. You don't need to wait for those favours in the same way, as you can just hire the people within your network to crew in your project. So things happen faster. And this is what you would want to develop and happen naturally over time. People work with people they know, and filmmaking is, after all, a team sport. So start out working on each of your student projects, building rapport and trust whilst learning your craft. Then, when you start getting paid jobs and you need a small crew to help you deliver the project, someone to run sound or help with lighting, for example, you call in friends in your network that you worked with before. All of the people in your network grow in their skills and experience, and the quality of the work you can produce increases in line with that. The quality of work a single shooter can produce, after all, it will eventually plateau, as a single person cannot do all the things that even a crew of 3 people can achieve. So grow that network and don't let social awkwardness or perceived barriers prevent you from making your work and making the films you want to see. But most importantly, make work. Make work and learn those lessons. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one where we get into it properly.